I'm Batman. Good luck, Harry Potter.
Well, cover me with eggs and flour and bake me for 40 minutes.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. So, did you listen to the last episode?
Mm-hmm.
So, we're not safe in this bit anymore, where we do this little bit where we chat for a second or two before we actually start recording. Because, he put all the shit in last time.
Oh, I'm well aware.
Wrong.
Yeah.
So, when do we start? I don't know. So, I'm just going to go for it and hope he does cut this sort of bollocks out.
Sure.
In future, I don't know.
Thanks, Wayne.
Yeah, cheers, Wayne. Love you, really. Hello, and welcome to ScreenMasters with me, Bav.
Me, Fluff.
And this week, we're going to look to the immortal words of Marshall Mathers.
Jesus Christ.
Because guess who's back?
Oh, Jesus.
Back again.
Jesus Christ.
Yes, we're back. Tell a friend.
Jesus Christ.
And so on. I'm not going to carry on.
Yeah, please don't. Yeah, please, God, don't.
I'm not a very good rapper. Odd numbers means we're back to movies. And this week, we're looking at the animated movies of the DC Universe. But, as always, before we get there, it's time for a little catch-up. And as it's been a few weeks, the first question has to be, how many new Marvel or Disney Plus shows do we need to do?
Well, actually, there's one less.
One less?
One less now. There is actually one less, yes. So you, as usual, probably aren't privy to this because you don't go through the sites as well as I do.
No.
But Ghost Rider, I should say, has been canned. Yeah, so that was a Hulu show which has now been canned. Apparently, it's creative differences.
Okay.
From what I've read, it seems as though they're going to somehow establish Ghost Rider back into the MCU. Now, whether this is the movies, is kind of the suspicion.
Okay, so he might. What are you thinking?
I've no idea. I have no idea at this moment in time. This is the wonder of the MCU. We've no idea half the time where this is all going to come to fruition.
However, obviously this will be old news by the time this is actually released.
Of course.
But we have heard in the last couple of days that our man Spidey's back.
Thank God.
I mean, I just want a fanfare.
Yeah.
If I had a fanfare right now, I'd just... It's incredible.
Let's face it, I think it's down to a lot of fan pressure. The backlash from the decision to remove Spidey from the MCU, or for them not to continue that deal, had massive ramifications, perhaps more than they thought was actually going to occur. The fact that everybody's been very outspoken about it, a lot of people, John Favreau, for example, said he reckoned that they were going to work it out, and it does seem like it was a last-minute deal.
Like they have,
So, I think everybody's happy about this decision.
It's brilliant.
They've indicated that, yes, there's going to be a third Spidey film. I think they're getting the same director back as well. And that he's going to make at least one appearance in a future MCU movie as well.
Yeah, that would be great.
So where that's going to be, where that's going to lead, it can only lead to...
My dreams of New Avengers is back on.
Yeah, true. Still a ways away. I still think, as I've said before, I think Spidey could become a very important part of the future of the Avengers franchise.
Absolutely. I've just noticed a massive note I've written here.
Shoot.
That I wanted to discuss in the intro.
Oh, go on.
After listening back to episode 6.
Go on.
I do listen back to all of them just to check.
Well, we both do, yeah.
Offended every single person on Earth, which is very easy these days. Brett McKenzie. That's the guy from Flight of the Conchords. That's his name.
Yeah.
Jermaine Clement and Brett McKenzie.
Okay.
So I don't know why I felt the need to do that because he doesn't listen to this. He's got no idea. But
well, you said you were going to shout it out afterwards.
I totally didn't.
Yeah, I didn't.
So I'm going to shout it now.
Okay, that's fine.
But just
Okay.
I do know. I've got lots of pages of notes this week. It's all good.
You have. I've probably got equal amount of notes. See, we're getting more and more notes.
You've got more notes for the TV bit, but
that's always the case.
We'll get to that. So,
what have you been watching then?
What have I been watching? Let's have a look, shall we? A couple of horror films actually, which is
unsurprising.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's totally me. So I watched the new Child's Play.
Okay.
Remake of Child's Play.
Yeah.
because I heard Mark Hamill was the voice. And we know he's a great voice from Joker and all the other bits.
Mark Hamill, come on.
Sorry?
It's Mark Hamill, come on.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's the same sort of story, evil doll, so on and so, by a child, and then, chaos ensues. But in the original, which was Brad Dourif, I think, who voiced him, if that's how you say his name, he was a serial killer, and through some weird voodoo magic, his soul got transferred into the body of the doll, and that's how it started. So this one, they sort of update it a bit. So the intro, the start, is a really disgruntled Vietnamese worker in a factory on the production line building buddy dolls.
Right.
And he's clearly had enough, so he decides to disable all the safety inhibitor protocols in this AI doll.
Yeah.
Because you see an advert for it, so it's a fully AI doll, but it's got behaviour protocols and security stuff in place. So he deactivates all of that, puts this chip into this one doll, and then kills himself.
Oh, happy days.
Yeah, exactly. So this defective doll gets brought back to the shop, and the mum asks them, basically, well, she actually kind of forces the guy to let her take it home, and gives it to her son. So it's clearly a bit wonky to start with, and it actually, the voice goes funny and stuff, and it glitches a bit. But as it goes on, the toy imprints on the child, and then wants to look out for the child.
Oh, right, okay.
So there's a bit where the child is pissed off with its mum's boyfriend.
Okay.
Runs into the bedroom and goes like, "Oh, I just wish he wasn't here."
Oh, God.
So, of course, the doll sees this and goes out to make the boy happy.
Okay.
And it's... I don't know, the way he kills him, I won't spoil it just in case anyone is a fan of these sort of things, because it's worth a watch. It's worth a watch if you like...
horror.
A spin-off, an update of the Child's Play thing. Because I do think it works for the modern era, the whole AI running wild thing.
Yeah.
Without anything keeping it.
Yeah, no, certainly updating that from what it was to more current day. Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, that was good. The young boy's very good. Gabriel Bateman, he's very good, and there's like a little gang of kids that are around him a bit because that's quite funny. They sort of come up with YouTube videos they can do with this defective doll because it will do anything. So they're doing as ridiculous things as they can with this doll, recording it on their phones and stuff. But they're not bad. Like making it swear, making it stab things. That's that sort of stuff. But yeah, I thought it was pretty good. Newest director, didn't really know him. There's one joke in it that sits weirdly with me. So the doll gets returned at the beginning to the mum, and the person returning the doll makes the reason they're returning the doll is because they didn't realise the doll was had ginger hair.
Okay.
Which the doll does, right? The person returning the doll is a black man. I don't really know what they're trying to say with this supposed joke, because it just didn't sit right with me. Are you making a point that black people are too touchy? Because she points out to the guy that he's being, prejudiced against the doll for having ginger hair. I thought, what are you doing? I don't understand this.
That is a bit of a... That is a bit weird.
It's weird. Because why not just a white guy doing it? Why is it a black guy? That seems to be the point,
Yeah.
I just don't get what they're trying to say. Are they mocking society in general for being so touchy and outraged about things, or what we're not allowed to say anymore? I don't know. It was just a really weird moment at the beginning that I totally don't think it needs.
I've got nothing against redheads.
And exactly, it's it's the same as anything, isn't it? It's so weird. I don't understand it. Don't know what their point was. And then the only other thing I've worth mentioning anyway, because I'm a fan, is Gaspar Noé's latest popped up on the streaming service that we enjoy. And that's called Climax. And it's set in a dance workshop in like Belgium or France or somewhere. And essentially they're having a big party. But someone spikes the punch right at the beginning. And what transpires is a ridiculous and baffling descent into madness. and it's very intoxicating. It's about an hour and a half long, and it just slowly descends. And you slowly realise how insane the situation is getting. But because it's Gaspar Noé, he's doing things like spinning the camera around as you're following a character, just to completely disorient you. And in that way, it then shows you feel disoriented like the character that you're following behind.
Mm-hmm.
So you sort of follow different characters from one part of the building back to the party again.
Okay.
And you're passing all the other bits and pieces that you've seen that are still going on. There's some really nasty stuff in there. But you don't see anything, but what's happening is nasty. But again, that's what you expect from Gaspar Noé. But yeah, again, if anyone's a fan of his work, I think it's one of his better pieces. I did quite enjoy it, and it affected me in the way that I think he intended it to, by completely throwing me off during the time of watching. Well then, I've rambled enough now.
Well,
that's enough to say.
I've watched a few. I mean, I haven't watched as many movies of late. I think because getting through a lot of the DC animated kind of
yes, as we'll come to this.
Took my thirst for long movies out of the picture for a little while. One movie that I did like, which was on a particular streaming site of ours, was called Shanghai Fortress.
Okay.
I think it's one that I may have mentioned to you at some point. So it's actually quite a little gem I found. It's Chinese production, and there's been loads of random Chinese films which are popping up. Another one called Animal World, which I'll discuss later.
We talked about The Wandering Earth.
Yeah, The Wandering Earth. Yeah, I could never gel with The Wandering Earth. But this one's quite good. The premise is that an alien spaceship comes to Earth because a new energy source has been found off of Earth, so they kind of bring it back to Earth, and as a result this spaceship appears and the aliens basically want this new energy source, and so it basically takes over certain countries, or cities within countries. So like I think LA is destroyed, London is destroyed. So there's a few big cities which are kind of obliterated as a result of this, and the one that's kind of standing still is Shanghai.
Okay.
And so they have built this entire structure in the defense of their city, using this new power source to kind of power their weapons, to power a shield over the city itself, which looks really, really cool. And it's basically an alien invasion trying to take this energy source away from them. I really enjoyed this. I didn't think I would necessarily, don't get me wrong. The CGI in places is a little bit wobbly. And again, there's a weird romantic plot between this young pilot and kind of a general, or admiral, I'm trying to remember her position, but which was very bizarre and how it all kind of integrated. But as a whole, it was a really good kind of like alien attack on a city thing. I really enjoyed it. The Netflix stuff isn't always great from some other countries, shall we say. I've tried to look at other ones, but this was actually really enjoyable.
Cool.
Another Chinese production which I've watched. Now, I'd mentioned to you and other people in the past about an anime series called King's Avatar.
Yes, yeah, I do remember you saying about that.
So this is about a guy who's part of a team. It's esports is a huge, huge thing at this point. He's part of this team and kind of gets ousted from the team. He's been there for like 10 years or something, and he's no longer allowed to be his character, and so he kind of goes to work in an internet cafe, and it's all about him befriending some noobs, as they are referred to this actual game, and basically forming his own team to kind of get back into the pro side of this game. And honestly, I thought the anime was really good, and the fact that when you're doing it as anime, you can do real world stuff and then you can do in-game stuff. This actually does CGI, like they've basically done facial recognition of the characters and input them into the game. So there's real life action, but there's also interspersed with in-game footage.
Okay.
And the budget that they've clearly put behind this is quite impressive. Now, I thought that it's only going to be short because the anime series was 10 episodes long.
Yeah.
Then I spotted when it went up on a particular streaming site that there were about 20 episodes. I've then since realised that there's actually 40 episodes on there.
Right.
So this isn't a short thing.
Yeah.
So this has clearly taken them quite a while to produce because it really is quite good. It's a bit up and down in places because there are so many characters because you've got people from other teams and other characters and introductions and stuff like that. So they don't all necessarily make sense until you get a little bit further on. I'm about 24, 25 episodes in now. I've had to take a break because of recent views, but I really enjoy it. I'm really, really enjoying it. I've no doubt of how it's going to end because it just seems that kind of serious. But as a whole, loved it. I'm really, really enjoying it. So, yeah. It also gets a bit hard reading a lot of subtitles at times. Not going to lie. It's
tiring on the eyes.
It is very tiring on the eyes. But, yeah.
I find I tend to fall asleep more when I'm... the last series of Sword I did sub.
Yes. Yes, we both did.
Yeah, it's not that it wasn't great. I'd fall asleep sooner than I normally would before the end of the episode because my eyes were just too tired.
Well, that's it. It's like reading a book before you go to bed. Sometimes you fall asleep with the book on your face. So there's a couple of other things I have been watching. I've just started to watch BoJack Horseman. I'm not going to say too much on that because I've only kind of finished the first series, so I'm going to come back to that at a later point. I've been encouraged to watch this by somebody at work, and they haven't stopped nagging me since the day they joined about watching BoJack Horseman. So I finally caved, and I am enjoying it. But I'll get round to that at another point. The one other thing I will say I've watched, and you can see by the smile on my face, I'm so happy. This came out of nowhere. This surprised me because I'd completely forgotten it was starting. It was the new series of Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, wow.
The first episode was yesterday. It's like a warm friend. Give me a warm embrace. God, I loved it.
A warm friend from a warm embrace.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah. So that's pretty much why I've been watching really as well.
Cool. Okay. Now, actually, because you threw me straight into the what we've been watching, we totally haven't done a little bit of housekeeping and
go on.
outy stuff that I wanted to do.
Oh, of course.
It's fine. I'm blaming you for it. It's not your fault.
You gave a long pause. What else am I supposed to do?
I was thinking of what I needed to do next.
Sort yourself out.
It's fine. You know me. I've got pages of notes, but they're not in order. So, we're on episode 7.
Episode 7
for this one.
Yep.
And we did a little Facebook Q&A thing the other day, and we got some initial listening figures back for some of the episodes.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to be as vulgar to say them, but just wanted to say thank you to everyone who is listening to this. We thought it was maybe 15 of our mates who were doing us a favour by listening to it. So thank you. From the bottom of our hearts for being out there, and continue to do so. Go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/the-ScreenMasters. I totally got it wrong in the last couple of episodes, so it's facebook.com/the-ScreenMasters. Head over there, give us a like. Always posting new when the new episodes are up, and all the links for the different places: iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Alexa, wherever you get it, however you're listening to us. And we're also starting to put it all up on YouTube now. We aren't. Oh my God! Oh, Alexa, what have I done? What have I?
Oh dear! Oh dear! Oh dear! Just kicking off in the background there.
Why did I say Alexa?
Stop saying her name.
Oh God! So, what did we get to?
You were explaining all of the various formats.
I was. Facebook.com/the. Previous episodes, I may have said ScreenMasters. If you did that one, you probably ended up with the screen printers in Dubai, if I remember rightly. We're also starting to put all the stuff up on YouTube. So go to YouTube, search for ScreenMasters, search for Bite Back Media. That's where we are. It's the Bite Back Media page. There are co-podcasts, other podcasts on that network with us. Phil and Dave's Excellent Adventure, the third episode of which I listened to the other day. Shout out to the Flat Earther theories, Dave. I'm with you, just not publicly. What's the other one? Fretting Out, which is about playing guitar and playing instruments live, how to learn, all that sort of stuff. And they're awesome listens. Go over there and have a look. and give the YouTube page a like and subscribe and follow, and I don't know what all the different terms are for all the different platforms.
Share, like, follow, join us.
On the Facebook page, send us a message. You can email us still at screenmasters@bitebackmedia.co.uk. That's bite, like a computer bite, not a food bite. Christ, I made up my own line and then cocked it up. And you can head over to Patreon and donate if you so wish. You can go over there, and there's multiple tiers which will get you multiple rewards. We haven't quite decided what the ScreenMasters rewards will be yet, but they are coming. And yes, know that we don't get paid for this, and we won't get paid for this for many, many moons to come. We just want to pay Wayne, because he has to listen to all this and then try and knock it into some sort of legible form for you guys to listen to. So we just want to get some pennies in his back pocket for his brews, man. He's a thirsty boy. So help us out. Head over to Patreon, Bite Back Media, and donate over there. If you don't want to, that's cool. Keep listening. Just do something else then. Go over to YouTube. Like the YouTube page for us, because then that kicks off their stuff, and then we earn money through being monetized on that. So whatever you can do to help us is great. But like I say, it's not going in our pockets. It's going in Wayne's, because we need to keep the studio and stuff running up there. Right.
I will just say that after the Q&A, now Pete and I, we communicate on a good few days during the week, usually through WhatsApp, and we catch up. He doesn't often call me, so the fact that he called me after this Q&A on Thursday did kind of tell me how excited he was about things. So again, from myself as well, thank you everybody for listening. Just keep sharing, keep enjoying. Let us know your thoughts. If there's any content and stuff that you want us to cover, if there's any TV shows, any movie themes and stuff like that, let us know, because eventually we'll probably run out of ideas.
Yeah, maybe. So, right, with all the admin out of the way then, let's not run long on this one. So,
yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I know, man. That's why I should have done my shout-outs earlier. I also want to say that I'm on the tail end of a cold, so I apologise if I sound even more nasally than usual and cough occasionally. I am using therapeutic Thatcher's Haze to get me through this.
Poor little baby.
Do you want to go first?
Sure, yeah. Okay, I'll go first. So, this week's running commentary is going to be on the animated movies of the DC Universe.
Indeed, of which there are, let's just tell everyone,
sure.
There are 35 to date. 35. Currently been released, Batman Hush being the last one, which, if you're any kind of comic book fan and you know the Hush storyline, don't watch it. It was crap. They changed it.
Yeah.
They changed it.
Yeah.
And really, really badly as well.
I'm not going to lie. Yeah, I was enjoying it, and then suddenly the twist came, and yeah, that kind of ruined it. But anyway, let's not talk about the ones that we don't want to watch. Let's talk about the ones that we did want to watch and the ones that we did like. So my first pick was Gotham by Gaslight.
Okay.
Which was one of the Elseworlds adaptations, kind of a Victorian-era steampunk version of Batman.
It was a consideration for my list, I'll be honest. It made it to the 10.
I thought it might.
Made it to the 10.
So, I mean, this was really enjoyable for me because, again, it's separate. It's one of the Elseworld tales. They're always enjoyable. They're not too ingrained in the history of every other film that's come before it and everything else. This is what would happen if Batman was kind of in that steampunk era. So, I mean, the first introduction is like, three orphan boys, Dick, Jason, and Tim, or the Cock Robins as they're referred to at that point. They're saved by Batman, from the guy who's kind of been looking out for them on the streets, and they're sent to Sister Leslie. Another shout out to yet another Batman character. This is essentially, a murder mystery movie, including Jack the Ripper.
I see.
So it's not your typical kind of superhero kind of film, with tights and all that kind of stuff. It's Jack the Ripper. It's pretty brutal. It's not. I'm not going to lie. It is not a film for young kids.
Well, that's something I was thinking of as we were doing these.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I wonder, is this an episode people think they'll be interested in? Because actually, there's still the stigma around animation.
Mm-hmm.
Yet it's worth saying that I don't think a single one of my films was less than a 12A.
Probably not.
And there are some of them that are 15s because of the level of violence and graphic violence in them, and gore and adult themes particularly.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's worth saying that they're not.
No, they're not always. I mean,
Saturday morning cartoon.
Let's face it. I mean, the reading audience of comics these days is older than it is younger.
True.
More than likely, it's harder to kind of get some of the newer kids into into reading, but we old kids still enjoy what we do. But yeah, and this is honestly very faithful to the source material. I have read this many moons ago now. I can't exactly say how faithful it is. I would say very faithful though to the original source material. You've got all of the usual kind of characters in there. You've got Alfred, who's just great against the orphan boys. Avoids being pickpocketed by them, and then kind of takes them in, and then starts looking after them, gets them to do a few works, and again, you've got Jim Gordon in there as well, who, again, I'm going to allow this because it's not a spoiler, because it's it is part of the thing that he's kind of revealed as the killer. This goes against who Jim Gordon is, and he's
a good misdirect.
Suffered from PTSD as a result of the Civil War, and he's determined to get rid of Gotham's filth by doing what he classes as his holy work, killing off criminals, killing off the poor, killing off prostitutes. It was just really enjoyable to kind of have a self-contained Batman story set in that kind of steampunk era. I love when he shows up on his steampunk motorcycle. It just looks beautiful. That steampunk era kind of vibe always kind of intrigues me.
Yeah, I like it as well.
So this was
It's another reason why I'm loving watching Korra again with my daughter. Is the steampunk vibe that they've got running through that is very good.
Yeah, so that was number one. I mean, don't get me wrong, this was a hard stop through 35 films. I probably ended up watching maybe 15 to 20, so this has taken a good few weeks.
You watched a lot.
I watched a lot.
I've seen every film on the list when it released. Some I remember better than others, but I knew where I wanted to go.
Yeah, it took me a while.
So I just focused on those ones. But like one like the no, I won't say just in case it's on your list.
No.
We'll discuss it when we get there.
So that was one for me. How about one for yourself?
Okay, so number 5, and I've only put these in here because I'm never going to get the chance to talk about this character otherwise. I've gone for Green Lantern First Flight, and I'm also shoving Green Lantern Emerald Knights in there as well, which are the 2 Green Lantern films on the list. First Flight is the origin story of Hal Jordan, faithfully retold, with Sinestro as the bad guy, turn into the Weaponers of Quad to forge the Yellow Ring, and then go against the Guardians. It's really well done. It's really good. I love, Hal Jordan's my favourite character. So
who'd have thought?
And like I say, I'm never going to get the chance to talk about him.
What? You don't want to talk about the DC movie?
Nope.
You don't love a bit of Ryan Reynolds GL?
No. No, I can't watch it. I actually can't watch it. I want to watch it so that I can try and pick some good stuff out of it and make myself feel better, but I can't. But yeah, First Flight, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a bit standard because it's an origin story, but I do really like it. I like the way it plays out. Emerald Knights is the more interesting one, I think.
Yes.
Because it's more of an anthology in the vein of Gotham Knight that's also on this list, which is like an anthology like they did with Animatrix. So it's like an animated thing, but it's set in the Nolan-verse. But yeah, so there's a story thread is Hal is training Arisa, the new Lantern. They're not in the same universe because Sinestro's a Green Lantern still and remains a Green Lantern throughout this episode. But they're taking on a threat, and then characters give backstory as we go along, and we get 3 or 4 little pieces to see the wider mythos, I guess, to sort of build the universe. It's really, I think it's really good. It's really interesting. There's an awesome bit where they've captured Atrocitus, who's the leader of the Red Lanterns, for anyone that doesn't know, but he foreshadows what's coming with Sinestro and the Sinestro Corps and the War of Light, and that's really cool. But yeah, I just wanted to put them in. because I want something to do with Green Lantern to be talked about on this podcast.
Well, I'm sure we'll go.
Now I feel rubbish because I haven't really got much more to say on them, but there you go.
Well, I'm sure we'll talk about GL from the Justice League animated series at some point, because there's a good few episodes there.
Yeah. And he was also very good in, I think it was the Batman series that came out. They did like the 3rd or 4th season of that. They started bringing in like Superman and Green Lantern and stuff. He was cool in that, but yeah. And the other reason why I like Emerald Knights over First Light is because they'd brought Nathan Fillion in to do the voice by that point, which is perfect. I wish he would have been Green Lantern. I really do. Go on then, back to you.
Okay, so my second or fourth choice, however you want to list them these times, is the Justice League versus the Fatal Five, which was a recent release. Now, I think this one holds a little bit more of a special place for me, mainly because this is set very much in vein of the Justice League Unlimited TV series universe. It's not exactly, because I think we both recall that there was a Legion of Superheroes and Fatal Five kind of story within that, which involved Green Arrow, Supergirl, etc. Hopefully we'll cover that at a later junction. But I mean, this was the returning cast of Kevin Conroy as Batman. You've got Susan Eisenberg as Wonder Woman, and you've got George Newbern as Superman. And as soon as you hear those voices, it just feels very comforting for me. When you watch some of these animated films, some of the later voices, I've got nothing against any of them particularly, but this lot is just very comfortable and just, very, very enjoyable. In listening to this lot. So this is the story basically about the Fatal Five, which is set in the future with the Legion of Superheroes. And so it's very different to the original one. It's also the introduction of Jessica Cruz, another Green Lantern, somebody who suffers from strong anxiety after almost being murdered. It touches. This one actually touches on mental health with a couple of characters, with Jessica Cruz and also with Starboy, who is the member of the Legion of Superheroes who kind of gets thrown back in time when the Fatal Five return to kind of present day, as we might refer to it, to basically come back and try and free their leader, the Emerald Empress, who's been imprisoned on Oa, again, home of the Green Lantern Corps. And so, because she's been imprisoned in the past, to try and keep her away from her cohorts in the future. So it's kind of, their mission is basically to free her and then kind of destroy Earth so that the Legion never exists. But I don't know, I just really enjoyed this because it wasn't as expected. It wasn't your traditional kind of JLI, JLU, whichever you want to call it. It wasn't your kind of traditional one. It did talk about the fact that Starboy suffers from mental health issues, and he doesn't have the medication of the future to kind of tackle that. So he has, various outbursts about certain things, and then he and Jessica Cruz build up a bit of a relationship again because they're suffering each through their own ways through certain things. I just really enjoyed this. There's some really funny interplay as well with Ms. Martian trying to get accepted into the League, who's, unfortunately being, shadowed by Batman, of all people. Let's face it, it's not gonna be an easy task for Batman to let you into the Justice League. No, not really. So again, the interplay there is just really enjoyable. But like I say, I think the major crux for me was the fact that this was very much a return to the Justice League animated cast. I loved it. I know that it wasn't necessarily in canon with all of that, but again, it touched on some really cool stuff. The fact that we've got a new Green Lantern, we've got the Legion of Superheroes, who are just fantastic characters in themselves. It was just a really enjoyable story, and plus, it kind of came out of nowhere. I hadn't been reading about this, and then suddenly it appeared, and I was like, "Wow, this is really enjoyable."
Yeah, no, I remember watching that one. I do. My issues with the later ones, like I said, that felt like a bit more of a throwback. My issues with the later ones are the new 52-ness, because that's just not my Justice League.
That was it. As soon as you see Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, this, I'm like, that's the Superman costume I love. That's the Batman. So back over to you.
Okay, so number 4, I I got two together because we obviously listeners won't know this, but I did some research and printed out some lists for us that broke up the various continuities of these films, and there's two of them that are based on the Grant Morrison JLA storylines that were published in the noughties, and I very much enjoy those. So I decided to watch two of them. Unfortunately, one of them is totally different voices, and I don't like them at all. So I've thrown that one away.
Right, okay.
I don't like it. It's Crisis on 2 Earth.
Yes.
I don't disagree with because it's the crime syndicate and all that, and I like the mirror opposite thing.
Yeah.
Don't mind it, but unfortunately, all the voices are wrong as far as I'm concerned.
I thought James Woods did a good Owlman, though.
Yes.
I did. Yeah.
Give you that one. So, we're going to talk about Justice League Doom instead, which is adapted from the Tower of Babel storyline, I think it was, in the comics. Vandal Savage puts together a Legion of Doom to take out the Justice League so that he can basically wipe out most of the planet and then rebuild it in his own image. It's your standard fare, but like you, it's in here because it's the classic voices. But it's an awesome one. I like the storyline because it's he takes out the Justice League using ideas stolen from Batman's Batcave, because Batman has a contingency plan for everyone, and that's why it hits home for me as well. Because as you know, we were reading comics around the times of Identity Crisis and Infinite Crisis and all that sort of stuff, when loyalties were being tested within the Justice League and mind wiping was going on, and Batman was running paranoid and putting together ideas. So it was a repeat of the same storyline essentially, although it was the OMAC project, wasn't it? But, I like that idea. I like that Batman has contingencies for everyone, and I love it even more that right at the end, everyone's like, "Nah, we're kicking you out of the Justice League," and he's like, "All right, if you don't think I'd do exactly the same thing again, you're idiots."
I'm a Batman.
I need to have contingencies for everyone, and then he just walks out, and then Supes meets him at the teleporter and gives him back the kryptonite that he keeps for Supes. He's like, "Yeah, you take that. I'd rather know that it was with you."
Yeah, I trust you.
Because, they have that bond.
Yeah.
And I shall explore that bond further later on.
Okay.
Over to you.
Okay. So mine, now, oddly enough, I went for, it wasn't intentional, but as I was starting to watch a lot of these, the two which, I mean, again, I tried not to pick necessarily recent DC animated films, but these two really did go back to back. So the first one I'll cover is The Death of Superman, because this was so very, very faithful, not entirely for obvious reasons, but it was very, very faithful to the original story. Now, for those of you who haven't read it, this is actually probably one of the best Superman stories of all time, if you have the luxury of going and buying the graphic novel. So there is The Death of Superman, and there's the kind of sequel part to it. But we'll cover The Death of Superman first. So it opens kind of with the usual, saving of the day. The mayor says, what would we do without you, kind of a deal.
Yeah.
And that just, that foreshadows the rest of this thing. You've got Lois and Clark in a relationship. However, she doesn't know his secret at this point.
Okay.
So that was, again, a bit of a change for the graphic novel version of this. You've got introductions of all of the future kind of iterations of Superman supporting cast. You've got Henry Irons, or Steel. You've got Hank Henshaw, Cyborg Superman. And then you've got the Superboy clone. Not much is seen too much about some of these individuals, but they're there. Obviously, Lex Luthor is still a part of it. At one point, there's just a really nice throwback because he's kind of dressed as Lionel Luthor. He's got the orange wig on and the orange beard, and he just kind of whips it off. And I was like, that's a nice little nod back to that kind of era as well. And then it's the arrival of Doomsday. Really, again, this has changed from the comic book version of it. Instead of kind of burrowing his way through the Earth, he arrives by meteorite instead. So it changes it up, and that causes an accident with Hank Henshaw and things like that. So that kind of leads to his thing. But while this is all kind of going on, just as Doomsday is kind of arriving, Clark Kent's having a bit of a crisis of identity. Lois is meeting the Kents for the first time. He's kind of wondering whether he should tell Lois his secret or not. And just as he kind of tells her, everything with Doomsday kicks off in earnest. So, Doomsday goes through an absolute path of destruction. And I think this is one of the best versions of this story we've both seen a terrible version on a Smallville series of this particular character
as well, is Superman Doomsday, which is the pre-New 52 telling.
Yes, and that was nowhere near as enjoyable as this. I mean, the absolute path of destruction. He goes through almost all of the Justice League within the matter of minutes. He takes out Hawkman in seconds, Green Lantern in seconds, Flash, Cyborg, Aquaman, Martian Manhunter, even Batman at this point is just getting his ass whooped. Finally, he's trying to take out Wonder Woman, and just even she has no defense against him. And then Superman enters the battle, and it's an epic battle. It goes on, I can't even think, 20, 30 minutes. This battle goes on quite...
It's most of the thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Again, it was most of the comic.
Exactly, yeah. Within the first few seconds of the fight, he makes Superman bleed. That says volumes to this kind of story. Now, calling it the death of Superman, it's foreshadowing as well. You know kind of what's coming home. You know everything that's going to go down, really. But as this battle is still going on, you've still got him running around trying to save civilians while in the midst of this massive battle.
Yeah.
Finally, Doomsday, hits, or he's about to go and hit Lois Lane. So Superman finally, just snaps and just finally punches him in the face, cracking his neck all the way around. This is a guy who doesn't kill.
Yeah, exactly. He doesn't kill, and he always holds back.
Yeah. Always holds back. Always. Even Wonder Woman says to him at one point, don't hold back. You can't hold back. But as he goes for this final fist-shattering punch, he gets impaled on one of the claws and basically dies in Lois' arms. Now, again, it's not ruining too much because it's called The Death of Superman.
Yeah, exactly. And it's based on a comic book called Death of Superman.
Yeah. But again, there's this really nice homage to the covers and a scene within that with the
flag on the pole,
the red cape on the pole, which is really nice. And then you kind of get the funeral for Superman, which is then building up the return of Superman. You've got quick intershots of Superboy breaking out of his confinement. You've got Steel kind of making his new outfit. You've got the Fortress of Solitude suddenly being built, and then you suddenly get a shot of Cyborg Superman. So that's foreshadowing of the next one. I just loved it. It was a really, really faithful adaptation. Emotional as hell.
I don't dislike that one, I've got to be honest. I don't know. It doesn't do it for me, I think, because again, the voices they're not right.
They're not
voices. They're not bad necessarily.
No, I think that's the thing. I think because we got so far down the line at this point with so many different iterations of voices and stuff like that, I just got comfortable with this one.
Used to it.
And let's face it, your boy Nathan Fillion is Hal Jordan in it.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
They do use him for Hal Jordan.
So, right, back over to you before I say too much more on that one.
Oh, is Rain its own separate thing?
If you want me to cover the next one next, I'm happy to do so.
Oh, no, is Rain your...
It is the next one.
Okay, because I've been bundling two together.
Yeah.
As one.
Oh, okay. Well, no, yeah. So I'm okay. So I'll do my next one, and then you
like the Green Lantern thingy. I'd push two together.
That was the thing. Like, I wanted to do them separate because I knew that I'd talk quite a bit for.
I'll do my next.
Okay, good.
So
gives me a chance to have a drink.
Let's go with. Yeah, I think that one wins. So number 3. My number 3 is Batman Year One.
Oh, yeah.
Which is an adaptation of the Frank Miller, I want to say 1986, 87, something like that, comic book. I've reread it in the last few days just to see how close it is, but it basically is a reimagining for the modern era of Batman's origin. They did it with all of them around that time, didn't they? There was a new Superman origin, Flash and GL, and they sort of rebooted them all. But yeah, so this one is Frank Miller. So it's there's a lot of comparisons as you're watching it to there's a lot of Batman Begins in there because Batman Begins drew heavily from year one.
Yeah.
So you recognise sequences, and it's quite interesting to see how the animated version plays out versus the other one. But like, if you think that Chris Nolan presents you a gritty version of Batman, then you know, good God. This is grit at a whole new level of gritty because it's Frank Miller. So he's responsible in films, Mr. Miller, for unfortunately some pure tripe. Like, oh Christ, what was it? Will Eisner's The Spirit?
Yes.
God, that was awful. But he did have a hand in Sin City and 300. Both of which, I mean, I love 300. I'll admit it's just like sweaty men shouting and fighting a lot, but, you know, I like wrestling, so it stands to reason. Again, the grittiness, like Catwoman's a prostitute in it, which is true to the comics and is still canon as far as I'm aware as for her origin. But again, it's Miller being gritty. There's a sequence that I absolutely loved. So there's a bit where Gordon gets beaten up because he's not a bent cop, basically, and he gets the ringleader of the guys who have beaten him up and drives him out into the middle of nowhere. And the voiceover says, "It's been years since I've had to take out a Green Beret. Even so, he deserves a handicap." Gordon then throws him a baseball bat and proceeds to beat the holy shit out of him. It's ridiculous. Like, he strips him naked, ties him up, and fucks off. It's like, this is Jim Gordon. This is Rambo. Like, what are you doing? But again, it's Frank Miller, so it's gritty. It's gritty. Jim Gordon's actually a total badass who can beat the shit out of people. Don't be wrong, I'm mocking it, but I love it. It's an awesome sequence, and because most of it is narrated by either Gordon or Batman, it's really cool to see him talking about it like that. But it did make me think, like, wow, how far have we come from the Commissioner Gordon that people would know from maybe the 60s TV show and stuff.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, he's got
Gary Oldman. Do you imagine Gary Oldman beating the living piss out of a massive beefcake footballer?
I don't know. I think,
because the character just hasn't been built that way.
No, but I mean, you get flashes of how badass he is when he, within the films themselves, because he still holds his own against shit.
He does. He holds his own. Don't be wrong, but like I say, this is a big beefcake jock. He throws him a baseball bat as a handicap because he. Oh God. So the cast is Bryan Cranston as Jim Gordon, which I think is a really good one. I think he does really well. Ben McKenzie is Batman, which makes me chuckle because whether he was at the time, or he certainly went on to be Jim Gordon
in Gotham.
Yeah. So that's quite amusing.
Not a series I
you'll
watched.
know him from your favourite TV show, The OC.
Hey, I watched that back in the day. Don't be dissing.
I don't mean the original, the official, The Only Club That Matters, by the way. I mean the TV show that you watched because you're a big girl.
Hey, I love Rachel Bilson. There's nothing wrong with that.
And then the other thing I'd mention is Eliza Dushku, because I love Eliza Dushku. And she does Catwoman in it. And I think she's got the right feist for it. But yeah, I think it's really good. I've reread the comic. It's very close to the comic. So yeah, I think it's a damn good adapt.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It was close to being in my list, but I suspected that it would probably be in yours, and I figured we'd try and cover as many of the movies as possible to give our listeners a bit of variety.
Yeah.
So I will continue mine then with Reign of Superman, which, let's face it, wasn't a bit of a surprise because I'd already watched Death of Superman. Now, it was kind of twofold, let's face it. I was like, you know what, I've put one. I need to do the second part of this.
Yeah, like you say, it definitely runs as two-part. I did watch both of these, and I've got notes for both because I felt I couldn't do notes for one.
No, it was more because Death of Superman was the more emotional of the two, most definitely for me. Not to say that Reign of Superman isn't, it doesn't have a punchy or two here or there, but definitely, the death of Superman, you see that impact on all of the characters. Even Batman's like, heartbroken. And that's saying something. That's Batman, for Christ's sake. So this one kind of opens 6 months later, post Death of Superman. So you get the introductions of Superboy. Now, one thing that I will say, and I loved about this, was the comics accurate version of Superboy with the round glasses, the kind of leather jacket and stuff like that.
I love the way they look, to be fair. They looked awesome in that.
Yeah, and that was it. Again, you get your introductions of Steel, the Eradicator, and Cyborg Superman. Again, all very, very true to the comic book form, which sometimes, especially given that this was a New 52 version of the kind of story, it was really nice to see that they didn't just kind of wash that over and go, let's New 52 them up. That was good. Each one of these guys has a different fighting style. You've got Lex Luthor trying to keep control of Superboy. He's claiming is the true heir to kind of Superman's throne. Although it's revealed that he is a clone of Superman. And now, again, within this, now this wasn't at that point something that was revealed. Now, we both have read the comic book run a lot later of Teen Titans, where it's revealed that this clone is a clone of Superman and of Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
At that point, this wasn't known. This was a lot later in the future. I think it was Jeff Johns' run of Teen Titans where that
Jeff
kind of
Johns
came.
rewrote it because he wasn't originally.
Yeah,
no, he was just a clone of Superman.
The
original graphic.
Yeah,
in the original run of Reign of the Superman.
Yeah, so that was just a cool little add in there as well, which I thought was great because it foreshadows stuff. Perhaps if they continue this kind of storyline. Anyway, it's the reveal of you've got Darkseid, who is revealed as the kind of the brains behind Cyborg Superman, who's been running around trying to save everybody. We're given this false impression that he's the heir to the throne of Superman and stuff like this. You've got Eradicator revealed as the kind of tech protecting Kryptonian heritage and all this stuff, and then revealed that Superman is actually within the fortress still.
Yeah.
Again, we're not surprised by the fact that Superman's going to return. It was, again, kind of foreshadowed in the previous one.
Yeah.
Because, again, somebody breaks his body out of his tomb at the end of the first film, the end of Death of Superman. So, again, this is all connected. And then Superman comes back and starts fighting a big battle with Cyborg Superman, who ends up, betraying Darkseid because he just basically wants to kill Superman himself because he's pissed off that he didn't save his wife in the first of the two films, which is understandable. And that's the thing. There's always been this thing with Hank Henshaw and the history of between him and Superman and stuff like that. The battle continues, but eventually, due to Superman not having his full powers back yet, he gets some, yellow sun rays on him. Boom, he's back up to full standing. So again, it was this good. I don't think the fight scenes are necessarily as good as the previous one because that battle between he and Doomsday was a little bit more epic because he'd gone through the entirety of the League at this point, whereas the League are just kind of disposed of in this one. So that's kind of washed away. Whereas the fact that Doomsday had gone through the entire lot previously was really enjoyable, I think, because it was just two guys slugging it out. We've seen the destruction which occurred in that one. This is kind of less so. But eventually, Superman overcomes, as he often does. But what I really liked about this is kind of the ending. He's kind of reunited with everybody. Superboy gets taken in by the Kents. He gets called Connor, so again, in line with various things. And everybody just kind of celebrates the return of Superman, and also Clark Kent, who has been missing throughout this entire ordeal.
Yes.
And everybody doesn't really suspect that the one and the two are the same. Of course, why would they? But yeah, so I mean, like I say, it was the second part of this whole Death of Superman, Reign of Superman kind of thing. It just really, because I watched it back to back, I just had that one overpass. I just went, this is one encompassing film, really. So I had to separate the two for obvious reasons, but as a very faithful, true adaptation of that particular story in Superman's history, I couldn't fault it. Don't get me wrong. Again, the voices in places are a little bit jaded, but
my only complaint with it really is that the Reign of the Superman storyline is so epic that I don't think any of these hour and 10-minute long animations ever does it justice. Or
no, I get you. I get you.
But that's the only criticism that I could have, really. Again, it didn't. They were close to mine. Like I say, the two of them made my top 10 because they are. I rewatched them, so they got close, but. Yeah, they just don't quite cut it.
I mean, that's the thing. I think
and again, that's not to say I don't like them. I do. They're just not. As much as
it is hard to be entirely faithful to some of these adaptations at times because the source material is, what it is.
A huge
God, yeah.
Tome. A huge tome.
Tome.
I think tome. Maybe. Maybe that was the word.
And it was always going to be hard to adapt some of these. Again, as you mentioned on Hush, I love that story. I really did not like the film because they made such massive transitions from the original story, and I just didn't enjoy that.
I find Killing Joke the same.
Yeah. I love the story, don't love the film.
Yeah, because they added the bit in at the beginning with him and her getting it on, and it just doesn't work.
No, it doesn't.
Cool.
Right, so back over to you.
So, one thing I didn't mention in the last one, which was year one, is that I like the art style very much because it adopts an art style that goes away from your basic JLA that we might understand, or some of the new 52 ones, more like Gotham by Gaslight. Adopts a style that's similar to the comic book on which it's based. And so my number twos. Again, I'm bundling two together because I'm going to cheat, but it's Superman, Batman, Public Enemies, and Superman, Batman, Apocalypse, both of which are adapted from the start of the Jeff Loeb run on the comic, and are basically the first two graphic novels when they're collected. So, Superman, Batman, Public Enemies is probably my favourite of the two because it's Lex as the baddie, and Lex is president, and Superman knows he's not right for the job and knows he's going to be a baddie, but everyone else is convinced that he's fine and you've got to give him a second chance and everything. So you know what's going to happen. It's pissing Lex. Like, you've got to be an idiot not to know what's going to happen. But again, it nods towards Ed McGuinness's art style, who did the first arc. So everyone's very blocky and chunky in the character.
Yes, yeah.
He draws them very chunky like that. There's the interplay between Batman and Superman throughout is brilliant. There's a bit where Superman's like, "Oh, do you have something worked out, right?" And Batman says, "No, I'm sure it'll come to me." And it's just he just trusts him implicitly because he knows that he will have a plan at some point. I like that in this one, Superman seems to have an obsession with just flying people out of the atmosphere to subdue them. Does it talk about 2 or 3 characters? Just flies them straight up in the air until they lose consciousness and then brings them back down again. Which really makes me laugh. Like, it's just like,
genius.
Take you up there, okay, and we're done. And it's got Lex's suit in it, which I really like as well. The classic green and purple big suit that he finds himself in. That looks awesome, and there's some great fights then between him and Superman with the suit on. There's a bit where they're fighting and Lex is falling out of the air, and I think it's ripped from the comics. I didn't have time to go and check, but he goes through a water tower outside a small farm, which is obviously a massive nod back to Superman's crash landing, where he did the same thing in the classic image of it. But yeah, the Public Enemies, I think, is my favourite. They end up going and getting a big robot because there's a kryptonite meteorite heading towards Earth, and they need to stop it. And Lex wouldn't let them, and then finally he does, and they end up going to Japan, and the Japanese kid has built a massive robot that's half Superman, half Batman, that can destroy it.
As I recall, he was a version of Toyman within the.
That's right. Yeah, they called him Toyman. Actually, yeah, that's right. So yeah, I really like it. It's very cool. At the end, Batman disappears like he always does. Question: when did that start? Do you know when did it become Batman's thing to disappear while someone else is talking? Because it's in the Nolan stuff, it's in the animated series stuff. Is it in the Burton
I don't know whether it's in the Burton stuff. I know it's in the Justice League animated series as well.
He does it to Superman and whoever he's talking to.
Yeah.
And I just thought, I wonder when that started. I wonder what
That's your research point.
interpretation of
There you
Batman started that.
There you go. Research it and tell everybody next time.
So moving on to Superman, Batman Apocalypse. So this one is Darkseid. So we're on to a lovely Darkseid storyline. Darkseid's trying to get Kara in this one because we introduced Supergirl right at the beginning. So this one was drawn by Michael Turner.
God, yeah. Late, great Michael Turner.
Gorgeous. Michael Turner, Lord rest him. He knew how to draw these characters, particularly Supergirl.
I know. I've got
versions of Supergirl work.
Yeah, I've got the first issues of the entire run of this. I think
I remember. It's beautiful. And again, the art style shows that they've animated it in that way, so that there are shots that are just. It looks like Michael Turner's drawn it himself. It's really, really good. But yeah, Darkseid's the villain. He wants to get Kara and Turner basically onto his side using Granny Goodness. So off we go. I noted that I like the way he draws Flash as well, as I'm sure you do, Michael Turner.
Oh god, yeah. Again, I've got another couple of covers of his.
So yeah, we get the whole Darkseid thing, the Furies, the Parademons. It's all there. It all rockets through, and the final act fight is absolutely incredible because Supergirl is just beating the living shit out of him for Darkseid for ages and just taking a mega beam after a mega beam because Superman's already been put out of commission. So she's the only one left and she just keeps getting up every single time, and it's just such a great fight. And like I say, the artwork really adds to it, and again, it's another great arc from a great comic and a great adaptation of it that really works. And like I say, the artwork, the Turner art is just sort of your cherry on the top, really. But yeah, I haven't really got much more to say. We're running along again, so I'm going to keep it short on that one. I've only got one more to go at.
You sure? Is it one or one and two? You know, you've got another bulk.
Yeah. I've got one more.
Okay. Right. So my final one is Batman Under the Red Hood.
Okay.
So for those who don't know, this is pretty much the story of Jason Todd, who was the second Robin, who died as a result. Now, in this, he died as a result of a Joker attack and then kind of a bomb explosion. But he was always kind of seen as the rash, kind of violent risk taker when it comes to the Robins. So this kind of begins the story. You know, you've got this story that, you know, he dies right at the beginning of it, and then you cut to 5 years later. And then you've got, you know, Red Hood taking over the Gotham underworld and offering protection against Batman and against Black Mask. And then after a series of encounters between Nightwing and Batman, they kind of realise that the Red Hood knows Batman's tactics and his gadgets, and actually they know that he knows that Batman is Bruce Wayne. And so at this point, I know, having read the story way back, I knew who was under the Red Hood.
Yeah, absolutely.
No pun intended. So I already knew. But again, it's the way that the film actually goes into this. Yeah, okay, we've already got it at the very start of the film, subverting it by saying, oh, look, Jason Todd dies. And you kind of go, oh, well, okay, he must be under the Red Hood. I get that. But at the same time, it is still the fact that when they're trying to discover this, it's like Batman just doesn't want to believe it. And why would he? Why would he want to believe that a kid that he feels he let down and let die is actually alive?
Yeah.
So eventually, you know, the Red Hood kills somebody in front of Batman, which completely shocks him, and he does it simply because he's like, they're not afraid. If you can't get them afraid and you can't get them to do the right thing, then they're written off. And that scares the shit out of Batman, which I love, because again, that's the whole thing. And again, one of the reasons that Batman and Superman intertwine so well, because neither of them is willing to kill. Yeah. Which is, again, the fundamentals are part of their friendship. But taking a blood sample, revealing that this is kind of Jason Todd, and then confronting Ra's al Ghul, or Ra's al Ghul, however you want to pronounce it. I know there's different versions of that for different people, who felt responsible as a result of him dying, and uses the Lazarus Pit. For those comic aficionados, the Lazarus Pit is well known. For those who aren't, the the Lazarus Pit is kind of a comic book device in the DC universe in order to reanimate the dead. However, when it does, it kind of brings them back a little bit fucked up.
Yeah, it does.
Quite right. They're really not quite right. And given that Jason Todd was always a bit dubious to begin with, it brings it back even worse. So, I mean, it's eventually revealed that his whole plan is basically wanting to draw the Joker out for payback for killing him. He's understanding, and he doesn't give Batman any grief for letting him die. He understands that. He's forgiven him for that. What he can't forgive is the fact that he's letting the Joker still run around. The Joker has killed enough people in his time.
Yeah.
And he just doesn't accept it. And that is actually something that has come up in the comic books time and time again. It's been the part of the story for Kingdom Come, and for various other iterations of other stories, that if Batman doesn't take the Joker out, what is he just going to do? Just going to let him run around and viciously maim and kill everybody? So, I'm not going to cover the end, because I do. This is one of the ones that I actually want people to go and watch, because this is one of the most. This is genuinely one of the most faithful adaptations, I think, of the graphic novel or the comic book run, whichever you want to call it. And I think it's really, really enjoyable. I think that Jason Ackles does a really good job as the Red Hood. Not even has he done a really good job as the voice. There's some really cool characters as well. I know Neil Patrick Harris does the voice of Nightwing in this as well, which I thought was really cool. But Jensen Ackles, who's from Supernatural, and even appeared in Smallville.
He was in Smallville.
Jesus Christ.
Was he Arrow? I want to say he was the interpretation of Green Arrow.
No, he was just some boyfriend of Lana Lang's or something like that. I can't remember.
I've just read my notes actually for Public Enemies. I forgot to mention Alison Mack, who was Chloe.
Oh yeah,
she was Power Girl.
Probably shouldn't talk too much about her and her, giving her later dalliances with sex cults and the like.
I didn't know about that.
You didn't know about that? Oh dear, oh dear. Oh god, you need to read up on that. Okay. Oof, Jesus Christ. Anyway, but
for next time later.
Yeah. Anyway, the fact that he actually still wants to play the live screen version of Jason Todd, so much so that I've actually seen him in Halloween garb and stuff like that. He looks badass as the Red Hood. No joke. Seriously looks badass. But yeah, considering the amount of DC films I had to go through, that was the one that I was like, you know what? Very faithful, very true, and I just sat down, switched off, and really loved that one.
Yeah.
There were plenty of other ones that almost pipped it to the post, but and shockingly, all of those are either a Batman or a Superman story. But that is also, if we look at the films, that's pretty much the bread and butter of DC animated.
It kind of is, yeah. There's not a huge amount of variation. The odd Teen Titans here and there, the odd Justice League. Yeah, not a lot else, is there?
No.
Cool, okay. So,
final one for you.
My final one. Now, this continues my theme. My favourite 3 choices for films are largely due to the artwork being faithful to the original comic, or at least trying to be different from the standard animation they would produce for these sort of animations. So my final one is Justice League New Frontier.
Okay, yeah,
which was one of the very early ones. In fact, on my list it says it's second. So this is an adaptation of the Darwin Cook 2-part graphic novel, I think it was, actually. I don't even think it was single issues, was it?
No, I believe you were correct.
I've got it over there. I haven't reread it, actually, but I know it's close anyway, because I've read it about 15 times. So again, the artwork, straight off the bat, is great. We get a nice little intro sequence that introduces us to something called the Centre, which is just a very ominous thing that has always existed, under the surface of the Earth, or somewhere like that. But there's like a little intro flip book. It's like a beginning of an old Disney animation almost, with the pages turning. But there's a great little flip book of humanity's growing violence through the ages to the bomb, to the nuclear bomb and stuff. And essentially, for a while, you don't really know what's going on, because you're just meeting all the different superheroes as you go along. And we meet Hal Jordan. And again, maybe that's kind of why it's the top of my list as well, because it's another telling of his origin story, a different one. It's the same basic idea, but slightly tweaked to fit with this film. And I think it's a really good one. But as we're meeting all the people, we start to realise that everything is connected to the centre, whatever that might be. And then as the film moves on, obviously the centre presents itself, and the third act is our fight against the centre. But other than apart from the art style, there's right at the beginning when we meet Hal, he's in the Korean War with his buddy, and it's they get a call over the radio to say the Korean War's done. So they're like, hey, let's turn around, let's go back to base. And two fighters, who obviously haven't had the same message from the Korean side, shoot them down.
Mm-hmm.
So Hal Jordan crash lands, and then gets jumped by a Korean soldier who, again, has not had the order that there's a ceasefire.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this big sort of scuffle where because he could kill him, but he doesn't want to kill him because he just doesn't know. But he can't communicate to this guy that it's okay, we don't need to fight anymore. So he ends up having to kill the guy because he's trying to kill him. And later in the film, you learn that that's the only person he killed with a weapon during the war. He was a pilot, and he used to just do tricksy moves to make people hit other things or crash into stuff so that he didn't have to use his guns and stuff during it. But again, such a adult theme to start off with of war and the fight for survival. Again, he says later on, like, I learned in the war what I would do to survive. What would make me kill. That's what he says. I learned what would make me kill, and I would kill to survive. And yeah, the other bits and pieces it covers with, there's a conversation between Superman and Lois Lane. And like, when you think about what they're actually discussing, the theme, sort of the underlying subtext of this whole thing is politics, the nature of heroism, loyalty between friends, between governments. Are they vigilantes? Are they not? Where's the line? Because Wonder Woman frees a band of women who are being kept as sex slaves by some rebels. She disarms the rebels, puts the gun in a clearing, frees the women, and says, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
And Superman's like, yeah, you can't do that.
Mm.
She's like, what? I've given them freedom and justice. That's the American way. What's she complain? But it's that morally sticky ground of, yeah, but you're a superhero, should you do that?
Yeah, no, I remember...
And it makes the government very scared of them.
I remember reading it, and it was, as you say, it was very ethically and morally discussive of social issues and things like that, and that
again,
sometimes isn't always there.
60s, something like that.
Yeah,
I think. So it's very of that period as well.
Yeah.
Again, I think the art style lends itself to
Definitely.
that as well. It also, as you said earlier, it deals with PTSD from Hal Jordan throughout the whole thing. He's struggling with it when he gets offered the ring, and they say you've got no fear, you've got great willpower. He's like, no, I haven't. I'm a coward. I went into veterinary hospital after the war. I'm nobody. But obviously the ring knows his true nature. It's really good. People should watch it. I'm just going to mention a quick note about the cast, because Green Lantern is David Boreanaz, who is I've got a big soft spot for, and he's the only other man I'd like to do the voice. So if it's not Fillion, I'll have David Boreanaz instead. Neil Patrick Harris is the Flash, which I love. Lucy Lawless is Wonder Woman. Carl McLaughlin's Superman. Jeremy Sisto is Batman. I actually love his Batman.
I really didn't enjoy his Batman. I didn't. But we can't all like it.
And then the voice of the centre, who is Keith David. And the only reason I mention him, he's one of these actors that you'd know from something anyway.
Oh, God, yeah.
Everyone would. But it turns out he's the voice of Spawn from the HBO animated series that I mentioned last week. So I thought I'd mention him.
There you go.
So there we are. Justice League New Frontier is my top choice out of those 35. Yes.
35.
What's yours? If you are interested, let us know. You can go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/The ScreenMasters, and send us a message, leave a comment on any of the videos there. We will read everything. You can head over to YouTube and search for Bite Back Media or ScreenMasters and find us over there. Subscribe it, hit the bell, do whatever. Even if you don't listen to it on YouTube, go and do it, because it sets off algorithms and things that, like I say, can help Wayne help us keep Wayne in tea. That's what I'm trying to say. Or you can head over to Patreon, which is patreon.com. I don't know the / easy bit address, so just go over there and search for us. We'll be on there somewhere under Biteback Media Network or Biteback Media. Like, share, subscribe, share, like, friends, tell them, hello, we're still here, it's the end. I don't know what else to say. So,
You seem a little bit out of breath there, you alright?
I am a little bit. I need to get another drink, I think, because I'm dry of throat. But thank you very much for listening, everyone. I've been Bav.
I have been Fluff.
And this has been ScreenMasters.